While PlayStation 5 titles tend to get the most attention when it comes to PS Plus, the service offers a vast collection of PS4 titles that are still highly enjoyable. Get ready to discover the best PlayStation 4 games available on the service. Number 20. Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. It has been too long since Square Enix released a Deus Ex game, but at least the available projects hold up well and promote repeat playthroughs. Mankind Divided builds on Human Revolution's strong foundations, crafting an experience that is just as rewarding as its predecessor. Adam Jensen finds himself going undercover, although his behavior and actions are largely determined by a user's preferred playstyle. Mankind Divided's gameplay is flexible and designed around player choice. One person could find themselves playing a stealth game, while someone else enjoys a more classic first-person shooter. Mankind Divided is a wonderful game and a great addition to PS Plus. It offers impressive characters and an amazingly immersive world. Number 19 is Days Gone. Even though Days Gone did not receive a reception as glowing as some other PS4 exclusives, the open-world zombie game is pretty great in its own right. Set in a post-apocalyptic version of the United States, you take on the role of Deacon St. John, a biker who goes on a quest to try and save his wife. However, the story does pick up quite a bit of steam as it goes along, especially once it starts delving deeper into Deacon's character. Even though the gameplay stays pretty much the same throughout the entire game, Days Gone lets players build their own bikes, which will stay by their side for the entire campaign. This customization process is perhaps the most enjoyable part of the whole package, although the game handles most things well, making it worthwhile. Number 18 is A Hat in Time. While no longer popular, 3D platformers have not completely gone extinct either. Most years tend to produce a handful of throwbacks to the days when gaming was run by colorful jumping mascots, and some titles even release on non-Nintendo hardware. A Hat in Time is a prime contender for the best PS4 platformer, and the game should not only entertain die-hard fans of the genre's classics, but also engage newcomers. Hat Girl has to travel through a few creative worlds in search of timepieces, which serve as A Hat in Time's main collectible in order to return home. Rather than focus on linear and self-contained stages, the game centers around open and expansive zones that players are encouraged to thoroughly explore. Boasting a stylish aesthetic and fantastic controls, this game looks and plays great, while also featuring an abundance of personality in its world and characters, making it one of the best PS4 games available on the service. Number 17 is Soul Calibur 6. While its name might not be as inescapable as Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, Soul Calibur has consistently delivered some of the most enjoyable fighting games on the market, and Soul Calibur 6 is no exception. This release builds upon the franchise's brilliant combat system by introducing a couple of new ideas that add even more strategy to encounters. The gameplay is as fun and complex as always, all the while still being reasonably accessible, permitting a new player is willing to dedicate some time to learning the basics. Soul Calibur 6 comes with 2 story modes that cover the same timeline in wildly different ways. Even if a PS Plus subscriber never touches the multiplayer portion of the game, Libra of Souls and Soul Chronicle should keep them busy for a good while. Number 16 is Ace Combat 7. Strap yourself into the cockpit of some of the world's most formidable fighter planes and skim through the clouds, embarking on daring tactical dogfights. Ace Combat 7 is a wonderful combat flight simulator that is light on the simulation part of that equation. The gameplay of the game is nuanced and fairly complex, but the controls themselves lean into arcade-style accessibility rather than realism. Over the course of a reasonably lengthy campaign, players step into a range of cockpits as they head to the skies and engage in dogfights and complete bombardment missions. Ace Combat 7 looks gorgeous and plays well. Although some mission types are more enjoyable than others, the campaign does try to regularly shake things up to stave off boredom. Ultimately, Skies Unknown is a niche title that will not appeal to everyone. However, it is still among the best PS4 games on PS Plus. Number 15 is The Evil Within 2, a horror game set 3 years after the events of the original game. Players step back into the shoes of a former police detective as he searches for his lost daughter in a once idyllic town. Enter a world filled with nightmares and discover its dark origins as horrifying threats emerge from every corner while the world twists and warps around you. With a wonderful story, a blood-freezing atmosphere, and a great variety of horrific monsters, The Evil Within 2 keeps you engaged for over 14 hours. The plethora of gruesome monsters and deranged enemies add to the nightmare-inducing atmosphere of the game, making it a must-play for fans of the horror genre and one of the best PlayStation 4 games available on PS Plus. Number 14 is Rage 2. Rage 2 garnered a relatively unspectacular reception, with its open world being especially divisive. An unexpected sequel to 2011's release, Rage 2 basically takes Doom's punchy combat and drops it into a Mad Max-style world. The gunplay is unsurprisingly the best part of this package, although it is aided by a decent selection of special abilities that players should look to unlock as soon as possible. Rage 2's barren landscape fits its story, and while the open world is not particularly fun to explore, it regularly throws enemies at the player to ensure that a bloodbath is never too far away. Number 13 is Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War are both on PS Plus Extra, presenting subscribers with two expansive open-world games to sink their teeth into. Even though the sequel improves upon its predecessor in a variety of ways, Shadow of Mordor is the best place to start for newcomers. Set in the Lord of the Rings universe, this action RPG centers around a ranger who fuses with an elf wraith, gaining powerful abilities in the process. The story is decent, but Shadow of Mordor's claim to fame is its nemesis system. Enemy orcs remember their previous actions and develop accordingly, even becoming stronger if they defeat the ranger. This creates a world that seems to be constantly evolving due to the player's actions. Number 12 is Desperados 3. The great thing about PS Plus is its variety. It covers all types of games and genres, including real-time tactics. Desperados 3 offers a polished and revenge-fueled trip through the Wild West. It boasts a complete roster of outlaws, each bringing a unique spin to combat. Desperados 3 blends complexity with accessibility, allowing for a flexible approach to situations. While stealth is the main focus of the game, it doesn't mean that players cannot blast their way through an army of enemies and become a legend in the process. Desperados 3 presents a compelling Wild West story and is a game that should not be missed, especially by fans of real-time tactical games. Number 11 is Samurai Warriors 5, the latest installment in the Samurai Warriors franchise, and it serves as a soft reboot for the series. Omega Force has used this reboot to refresh and enhance as much as possible, while still keeping that warrior's soul. A new art style, fresh mechanics, and new progression options are a few breaths of life the developer has given to the series. There is a grand cast of nearly 40 playable characters, including many fan favorites sporting striking redesigns and mechanical overhauls. Samurai Warriors 5 is over the top in its action, beautifully painted in its presentation, and offers a surprisingly decent narrative. It may get grind-heavy, but that doesn't stop it from being one of the best PS4 games available on PS Plus. If you're enjoying this video so far, a thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. Number 10 is Batman Arkham Knight. Rocksteady achieved superhero perfection with the Arkham trilogy. While Arkham Asylum and Arkham City are probably held in slightly higher esteem, Arkham Knight is comfortably among the best games on the PS4. Expanding its map to Gotham City, the 2015 game brings to life DC's legendary metropolis with style and depth. Even nearly a decade later, Arkham Knight still looks fantastic, to the point that it puts to shame many newer releases. Combat-wise, this entry marks the franchise's peak. Batman has an impressive range of tools at his disposal, and they combine to create a seamless and satisfying rhythm. The Batmobile sections are divisive, since an argument could be made that they overstay their welcome, but it is still cool to be able to step into the vehicle. With its astounding graphics and compelling narrative, Arkham Knight is one of the best games available on PS Plus. Number 9 is Death Stranding. Kojima Productions created a game that has walking as its central mechanic and largely tasks players with acting as a delivery service. In a post-apocalyptic wasteland, Sam sets out to travel from colony to colony, delivering supplies while setting up a communication system. While the protagonist will face a handful of strange creatures along the way, he primarily dedicates his energy to ensuring that he does not drop his packages. Slow-paced and unapologetically weird, Death Stranding is an acquired taste that anyone interested in open-world games should at least sample. It is one of those epic games where you reach the ending after many hours and you have the sense that you played something unique. Number 8 is Infamous Second Son. In the grand scheme of PS4 exclusives, Infamous Second Son tends to be overshadowed by titles released later in the console's life. Sucker Punch's sequel is not a significant departure from the PS3 entries in the series, even if it introduces a new city and hero. That said, the game's fundamentals are incredibly strong. Like many of the studio's releases, Infamous Second Son is highly enjoyable. As players unlock more abilities, the gameplay blossoms into something special, and even just traveling from one place to the next is exciting. Despite coming out during the PS4's early days, Infamous Second Son is still among the console's most beautiful games. Number 7 is Dishonored 2. Building upon the success of its predecessor, Dishonored 2 takes significant strides forward on its own. Continuing the story of Corvo and Emily, who seek to reclaim the throne after a coup, Dishonored 2 offers players the choice of controlling either character, each with unique skills that enhance replayability. The game emphasizes player choice, primarily in its gameplay. Players can decide whether they want to kill everyone who stands in their way or opt for no bloodshed whatsoever, resulting in two wildly different experiences. This freedom extends to the missions themselves, which largely take place in open areas and try to avoid railroading players into a specific approach. With its captivating and immersive gameplay, the game delivers a thoroughly enjoyable experience for fans of the stealth genre, and it's for sure one of the best PS4 titles available on PS Plus. Number 6 is Horizon Zero Dawn, a gorgeous open-world game set in a future Earth ruled by machines. It immerses players in a post-apocalyptic world where robotic dinosaurs roam, and they encounter various hostile human factions. The game stands out as a technical masterpiece, pushing the limits of the PS4 with its stunning visuals and rarely encountering any flaws in the process. Zero Dawn's combat is exceptional, particularly when it involves players taking on metallic behemoths that could rival quite a few towering beasts from the Monster Hunter franchise. The story takes a while to pick up steam, but once it gets going, Horizon Zero Dawn doesn't let up. Zero Dawn may be slowly getting older, but it hasn't lost any of its exquisite qualities. This is still a brilliant action-adventure in an original open world filled with well-crafted stories. Number 5 is Dragon Quest XI. Dragon Quest XI brought the series back to home consoles in the West after a long break, and the wait was worth it. At its heart, this is a traditional turn-based JRPG, and that extends to both the gameplay and story. The latter is straightforward but charming, one that is elevated by a decent roster of characters. The combat system should not hold too many surprises for anyone familiar with the franchise or RPGs from the 90s, and that is not a criticism. Dragon Quest XI wisely opts to stick to the formula that has proven successful for over 3 decades, all the while modernizing just enough elements to not come across as dated. The S version is the definitive way to experience this game, and it even comes with a 16-bit mode. Number 4 is Rise of the Tomb Raider. PS Plus Extra has the full Tomb Raider Survivor trilogy, which covers Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. All 3 games are worth playing, to the point that newcomers should start with Tomb Raider to get the full story. However, the first sequel is the best of the bunch. Rise of the Tomb Raider finds Lara heading to Siberia in search of a lost city, and the frozen landscape brings with it plenty of challenges for the legendary explorer. The game balances platforming, exploration, puzzles, and combat extremely well, crafting a well-rounded package filled with memorable set pieces and characters. Number 3 is Shadow of the Colossus. Bluepoint Games can be relied upon to deliver high-quality remakes, and the studio's 2018 rendition of Shadow of the Colossus is a treat for fans of Team Ico's PS2 classic. Retaining the core elements of the original version, the remake improves the visuals and controls, providing a faithful but modernized experience. Shadow of the Colossus drops players in a desolate world and gives them a straightforward task: kill 16 roaming beasts to save the life of one girl. The Forbidden Land is haunting but sporadically beautiful, and while the map is not that large, the game does a splendid job of making it feel epic. Shadow of the Colossus is a veritable masterpiece from top to bottom and is surely one of the greatest PS4 games on PlayStation Plus. Number 2 is Bloodborne, a contender for the best PlayStation 4 game ever. Stepping into the shoes of a hunter who must survive the hunt and bring to an end a deadly plague, From Software's gothic masterpiece takes players on an unrelenting and challenging journey through a dark and unforgiving city. Bloodborne's combat is fast, difficult, and incredibly smooth. Compared to Dark Souls, the weapon selection is limited. However, each item feels unique and comes with a transformation. Bloodborne is a masterpiece of environmental design, gameplay, and atmosphere. It is undeniably From Software's greatest game and among the best titles ever created on PS4. Number 1 is God of War. What more needs to be said about 2018's God of War? There are many games that anyone with a PS Plus Premium or Extra account should definitely play, and it's arguable that God of War should be at the top of that list. This reboot of the series sees Kratos living in a different part of the world, far from the Grecian roots players are used to seeing him in. The game offers weapon variety, incredible combat mechanics, and stunning visuals. Additionally, it incorporates RPG elements that enable players to enhance Kratos' abilities and equipment. With epic boss battles and quick-time events, God of War delivers a captivating and satisfying gameplay experience, making it, in our opinion, the best PS4 game available on the service. As we conclude our video, we would like to thank you for joining us as we explored the best PS4 games on PS Plus. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up to show your support. We also value your feedback, so feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Until next time, happy gaming!